Two large storms are developing, and the collision between them will create significant weather across the United States. What's about to unfold over the next 7 days involves a rare combination: a December heat wave, powerful winter storms, major flooding, and severe weather all happening at once. In about 15 minutes, I'll explain why this particular setup is more dangerous than typical winter storms. But first, let me show you what's already happening right now. Right now in the Pacific Northwest, a monster storm system has formed. We have snow, rain, and high winds all occurring simultaneously. This is causing flooding threats and blizzard conditions in higher elevations. Major travel impacts are expected throughout today, especially in mountain passes. But this Pacific storm is just the first part of the story. Here's what makes this weather pattern particularly notable. As temperatures surge northward, we're setting up a sharp clash between warm and cold air across the entire northern United States. This creates a prime environment for a powerful winter storm coast to coast with heavy snow, strong winds, and poor road conditions. Travel could become dangerous, especially as conditions change quickly. Farther south, that surge of warmth will pull unseasonably moist air northward, increasing instability across the Ohio Valley-Dixie Alley, opening the door for severe weather with potential for spin-up tornadoes. At the same time, and this is the part that concerns me most, the Jetstream is flattening out. This allows a strong atmospheric river to lock in over the Pacific Northwest. Let me explain what an atmospheric river is and why you should care about this one. Think of an atmospheric river as a fire hose of moisture in the sky. These rivers in the atmosphere can transport as much water as 15 Mississippi rivers combined. When one of these locks in over a region, it just keeps dumping moisture day after day. That's exactly what's happening now over the Pacific Northwest. Prolonged heavy rain at lower elevations combined with significant mountain snow will elevate flooding concerns, especially in areas that saw recent rainfall. Now let me walk you through the mechanism driving all of this, because understanding the jet stream pattern will help you understand why we're seeing such diverse weather across the country. Our jet stream right now has a big dip forming over the Pacific Northwest. This dip is funneling moisture directly from the Pacific Ocean into Washington and Oregon. The storm currently impacting these areas is producing heavy snow blizzard conditions and heavy rain that's leading to river flooding. That flooding will worsen over the next couple of days. But here's where the domino effect begins. As we move into Thursday and Friday, a large storm will form in the northern plains. This happens because the energy from that Pacific storm transfers eastward, and when it encounters the temperature contrast I mentioned earlier, it intensifies rapidly. This storm will bring heavy snowfall that could lead to blizzard conditions, the return of severe weather, much warmer weather for parts of the country, and another shot of Arctic air in the northern tier. On top of all this, very high winds will sweep across the northern plains and Midwest. The wind forecast might surprise you, and I'll show you those numbers shortly. As we go into Friday and Saturday, that jet stream dip will shift across the Ohio Valley. A strong cold front will push across the mid-Atlantic on Friday. Temperatures will drop behind this storm, but only briefly. By the weekend, our jet stream flattens again, becoming very zonal. For the Pacific Northwest, this means continued moisture from the Pacific dumping more rain along the west coast, possibly extending to areas further south in California. This pattern continues into next weekend. Eventually, as we move into early next week, right before Christmas, things become more uncertain. But Christmas could be very interesting temperature-wise because we could see a huge rise in our jet stream across the central and southern U.S., leading to what we call torch conditions. I'll explain what that means for your holiday plans in just a few minutes. Let me break this down day by day so you know exactly when to expect what. Late tonight, this low-pressure system will move across the northern Rockies. It's going to be a very intense storm system. Here's something you might not know. If you get headaches from pressure drops tomorrow, will be challenging across the Midwest and northern plains. Why our pressure will drop from around 1,020 millibars in areas like Michigan and Wisconsin down to around 980 millibars late Thursday. That's a pressure drop of 40 millibars in just 24 hours. To put that in perspective, that's the kind of rapid intensification we normally see in major coastal storms. The biggest story as this storm moves past the Rockies on Thursday is heavy snowfall and possible blizzard conditions in far northern Minnesota and North Dakota. Any remaining snow on the ground could also cause blizzard-like conditions from the extremely high winds across parts of the Midwest, including Iowa, South Dakota, and Wisconsin. But wait, there's more happening simultaneously. We even have a threat of strong to severe storms Thursday over in the Ohio Valley. The biggest concern will be a line of thunderstorms producing damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour. It should remain an isolated risk, but I wouldn't rule out an isolated tornado somewhere in that line. If a tornado occurs, it would be very weak. It's not a favorable environment for tornadoes generally. But thunderstorms will develop from Ohio back into Tennessee throughout Thursday. Snow will continue Thursday evening over Wisconsin and Minnesota. If you're in Minneapolis or Wausau, you could see some light snowfall, but we're not expecting much accumulation. Then Friday brings a very messy situation across New England with plenty of moderate to heavy rainfall throughout the late morning and early afternoon. A little snow on the backside of that. While that's happening, here's the critical part for Pacific Northwest residents. We're going to have another intense shot of heavy rain and snow Thursday night into early Friday. This will cause even more problems with flooding and landslides. Once we go into late Friday and Saturday, storm remnants will move into southern Canada in areas like Saskatchewan where light snow is possible. By the weekend and early next week, we'll continue to have a very active weather pattern in the Pacific Northwest. East of the Rockies will be fairly quiet with no big storm systems on the horizon right before Christmas. Now here's where I need to be transparent about uncertainty. Looking at Christmas Day, things get less certain. The GFS model has been showing some signs of wintry weather in areas like the Northeast or Upper Midwest. This is something to watch, but we don't really know if this will happen yet. The other possibility would be over on the West Coast in areas like California and Nevada, where we could have a storm system bringing heavy rainfall. Generally speaking, Christmas is a little uncertain right now, but the temperature trend is very interesting. Let me give you the specifics on what to expect. Starting with snowfall potential in the northern plains. Generally speaking, this won't be a major winter storm, but if you're in North Dakota, Minnesota, or northern Wisconsin, widespread coating to upwards of 6 to 7 inches of snow is possible. However, and this is crucial, we're going to have very high winds throughout Thursday. Blizzard conditions are definitely possible even with this relatively modest snowfall amount. Here's a practical tip. If you have an inflatable snowman in your yard, make sure it's tied down. As we go into late tonight into early Thursday, we're expecting extremely high winds all across the central and northern plains. Now let me show you the wind forecast. A widespread swath of 40 to 70 mile per hour winds is expected across the Dakotas, Minnesota, and Nebraska. Think about that. 70 mile per hour winds are equivalent to a Category 1 hurricane. These winds will continue Thursday afternoon across Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, even into Oklahoma and Arkansas, where we aren't expecting much precipitation. Then late Thursday night into early Friday winds will remain strong across the Great Lakes region with gusts still around 25 to 45 miles per hour. For total rainfall accumulation across the Pacific Northwest, and these numbers are significant between now through Friday night, if you're anywhere in Washington or Oregon, especially in the western half, a widespread 3 to 7 inches of rain is expected. Higher elevations will see much more rain and snow. We'll be watching for the possibility of even upwards of a foot of rainfall over western Oregon. Mudslides and major river flooding will continue to be concerns. If you have friends or family there, make sure they're aware of this situation. Now about Christmas. If you're hoping for a nice cold Christmas, I have disappointing news. That's not happening. We're expecting a very warm pattern to settle in across the United States with very high likelihood of above average temperatures between the 22nd and 26th only about a week from now. Right now, above average temperatures dominate most of the country, but we'll see a shot of Arctic air late Thursday and Friday across the Midwest Ohio Valley and Great Lakes. But notice how fast it moves out. It'll only be there about 24 hours. Then by Saturday and Sunday, warm air returns. By early next week, we'll just see warm air building all across the United States. It's going to get hot for this time of year. We're talking about potential record-breaking high temperatures across areas like the Midwest Central and Southern Plains. Get ready. You won't need a winter jacket around Christmas. For most of you, it's going to be torch conditions in the United States. This is an early preview of possible Christmas Eve temperatures, which is still about a week away, so things could change. But right now, we're forecasting a very warm Christmas. Areas just south of Chicago could see temperatures in the 60s and 70s. We could hit 70 degrees Christmas Eve in St. Louis, but Chicago might only reach 40 degrees. This represents a dramatic flip from the winter weather we've seen recently. Here are your specific action items. Pacific Northwest, particularly Washington and Oregon, ongoing flooding and mountain snow are your immediate concerns. River flooding will worsen over the next couple of days. Have evacuation plans ready if you're in flood-prone areas. Avoid mountain pass travel where blizzard conditions are occurring. Northern Plains, North Dakota, Minnesota, northern Wisconsin. Thursday is critical. Use Wednesday to prepare. Secure outdoor items before high winds arrive. Expect blizzard conditions. Thursday even, with modest snowfall because of extremely high winds. Travel will be hazardous Thursday afternoon and evening. Travel early Thursday if you must. Broader Midwest, including Iowa, Wisconsin, South Dakota, Great Lakes, very high winds, Wednesday night into Thursday are your main concern. Wind gusts of 40 to 70 miles per hour can cause power outages. Have flashlights and alternative heating sources ready. Ohio Valley from Ohio to Tennessee. Thursday afternoon into evening, be weather aware. Thunderstorm lines will produce damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour. Tornado threat is low but not zero. Have multiple ways to receive weather warnings. New England Friday is your day. Expect moderate to heavy rainfall late morning and early afternoon. Plan for slower Friday morning commute. Some light snow possible on the backside across interior areas. Looking at the extended outlook, the Pacific Northwest remains in an active pattern through the weekend into early next week. East of the Rockies will be fairly quiet heading into Christmas. The big story for Christmas week is the warm pattern. Adjust your expectations if you were hoping for a white Christmas. There's uncertainty about storm systems developing around Christmas. Some models suggest possible wintry weather in the Northeast or upper Midwest. Others show potential for a West Coast storm affecting California and Nevada. These details will become clearer as we approach Christmas. Bottom line, Pacific Northwest faces ongoing flooding through the weekend. Thursday is critical for northern plains and Midwest with high winds and winter weather. Ohio Valley watches for severe weather Thursday afternoon. New England gets heavy rain Friday. Everyone should prepare for a very warm Christmas week with possible record-breaking temperatures. Stay weather aware and make smart travel decisions.